Okay, let's go.
Hello there, Chick Chat. We are back with Sister Wives. It's been a minute since we've covered Sister Wives.
I'm so excited. I really am.
When I saw the episode was there, I texted Brooke, I'm so excited to watch this. But I wasn't as excited when I saw we were starting all the way back at the end of 2022, which is literally 2 years ago.
And we learned from Meri later on in the episode, pretty early, but that they actually started filming a week after the season finale of last season, because she said, Kody and I had our final conversation about a week ago, and they're referring to I wanted to sit on my porch with my sister.
I wanted to sit on a porch with my sister wives.
They did give us some really good clips this episode, too. We got the knife in the kidneys. We got a lot of good history clips. When we learned that they started filming so long ago, they also had acknowledged the passing of Garrison. It was pretty brief. They said he'd be deeply missed and was deeply loved.
I feel like that's the best they can do right now because the season starts back in 2022, and I don't think this season's going to cover Garrison.
According to Mykelti, it is going to be covered. It'll be towards the end of the season, but according to Mykelti, there's a speed up in time throughout the season where they jump into what happened. Mykelti's not a producer, but I think she usually is right about a lot of the things that she says that work their way through the interwebs. So I think they are going to cover it more than he was greatly loved and deeply missed, but I guess we'll see. I do think someone had said on the synopsis for the season that it will be acknowledged. I'm sure it's something that's going to naturally lead into all the other seasons, if there are any other seasons.
The whole situation is sad. I think TLC had to acknowledge that before diving into the season.
I think it would be disrespectful not to.
Diving into the season, we start off with Robyn and Kody going to Coyote Pass to envision houses there like they always do once a month. Why are they still doing this? Either build or don't build, pay off the property or don't pay off the property. Stop going to this damn plot of land just to look at it and be like, well, girls,
and cry. Like, how many times have you cried? You'd think that Robyn must think that her tears will grow homes. Like, that's how much she has cried at property. She thinks homes will grow from her tears and prayers. That's just not how it's going to work, Robyn. She's like constantly, I'm just remaining hopeful. Hopeful based on what? Based on a delusion?
Yeah, it's like Kody has to drive her there once a month just so she can pretend that things are gonna still keep going. And then this man's trying to tell you to live in reality because he wants to sell or scrap the land, because what's the point? What's the literal point? Yeah. And I think this is maybe the one and only conversation this season that I agreed with Kody 100%. I was like, just let this man sell the land. Just move on and stop pretending that Brent's gonna live on this land, because it's not. You're gonna at least have to sell a portion of it. If you and Kody want to build on this land, sure, but I think the best case scenario is to scrap up and move to a different city or just stay in your little $1 million home. But
to Kody, this land is a graveyard of his life. And that's actually how he's kind of describing this. I think they're doing this scene as a season opener to describe the state of the family, and this is a good place to talk about how awful things have become. But I mean, Kody, I think, is living more in reality, and that this land really is a graveyard of all his wives. Nobody's going to live there. I don't know if you have seen, but Kody and Robyn are selling their mansion as well in Flagstaff. And nobody, I think, knows where they're planning to actually go or if they're going to maybe stay together or not, but they're selling their house. So I don't know about the land. Did they sell the land?
I don't know.
Maybe one of you chick chatters can update us on that end. I think in this situation, you're right. Kody's right. This is the only scene where I think, will agree with Kody until the next time he talks to Robyn. Because between him and Robyn is the delusional one. And that's kind of the theme sort of this episode, too. Everybody is like, when is Robyn going to let go of Meri?
She's sitting there envisioning houses, and he's like, I kind of want to scrap it. And then she almost starts crying. I can't. We're not going there. We're not. And
ready for that yet.
Well, get ready, girl. Kody's like, well, to appease you, I'll sit here and pretend that we're going to be putting houses here. But do you really think Meri's going to come live here? She started perking up again when he started envisioning houses with her. But then he's like, but do you really think this is going to happen?
Kody is all for the delusion. That is what we learned at the finale of last episode, that he loves the act. He loves to play pretend. He thinks it's part of his marital duties. Well, it's not. You're supposed to be realistic with your wife and with your husband, even if it's not what they want to hear, so that they're not stuck in this weird alternate reality. And then he just turns and blames Robyn. Oh my God, I wish you would get with it. Well, half the time you're feeding her this, yeah, it'd be really great to have all this going on, blah, blah, blah. He did that to Christine for years. Kody is just Codying.
They're doing this ping pong thing where they're going between the wives. They're pretty much talking about how the family is just falling apart as usual. That's the normal conversation we're having on Sister Wives. And then they have that little sprinkle for Mykelti, who's having twins.
They do. Jenelle was invited to the baby sprinkle. Meri was not invited, and Kody and Robyn are going to be in attendance. So this is significant because apparently it's the first time that everyone has seen each other since Christine left, since the knife in the kidney scene, since the weird outdoor nighttime goodbye between both families on each side, all that weird stuff that we saw, I don't know, 2 years ago. I actually have a little bit of a critique about Christine in this baby sprinkle, which I can't even really believe I'm saying because I just love Christine. I mean, she's even the center of the new photos and everything for Sister Wives. Like, Kody is no longer in the center. Christine is in the center, which is hilarious to me. But I do have a little bit of critique of her because she did not say hi to Kody. She said in her confessional she was not going to say hi to Kody. In turn, obviously Kody didn't say hi to her, and Robyn didn't say hi to her because she told me she doesn't want to talk to me or my kids, which I get. But if you guys are all agreeing to be at a function for the sake of one of your children, you can't sit there, Christine, in a confessional and say, I can't say hi because that would imply that we're friends and I don't want to be friends. Saying hi to somebody does not imply that you're going to be friends. It implies that I am not going to make things super awkward while we stand here next to each other and weird for everyone else around. I hope that she will learn this in the future of just how to be divorced. I know Christina has been very sheltered her whole life. Even in polygamy and plural marriage, that's the only thing she's ever known. And I think divorce to her is very foreign. I think trying to figure out how to operate is very foreign, especially when she's considering dating and being with other people right now. She probably doesn't know how to navigate that. So I'll give her some slack for that and hope that she can clean that up. But right now, this is not an amicable way to go about coexisting.
Right.
It's just not.
Especially when you still have like minor child with him.
Then she's gonna sit there in the confessionals and be like, I am doing everything I can to maintain a relationship with him, but you won't look at him and say hello in a public setting at a party. I kind of got frustrated with that because I love Christine. I'm not mad at her at all. I do think that this is a little bit funky though. I mean, we live in a society where divorce is very common, and I think it's more and more common where people are able to amicably co-parent and coexist with each other. This is just not an example of that right now. I hope it gets better, but right now it seems very petty. And if what Kody is talking about in the future, you've seen some snippets of things becoming really childish and immature. If he's talking about Christine, I worry that I might agree with him, and I don't even want to. But I just think Christine is so young at soul, like immature, and just doesn't have a lot of life experience to understand. Even Robyn does about how you go about being divorced.
Robyn didn't handle her divorce very well either.
She didn't, and she wants to sit here and preach in her confessionals about, oh, I know the rules of a divorce. Well, just because you've been through a divorce don't mean you know the rules.
You weren't really that amicable in your divorce either. You're still not.
Yeah, if we call adopting your kids out to a whole other man and taking them out of the state amicable and never seeing them again, basically. Allegedly.
This sprinkle was pretty awkward. Thank goodness for Mykelti though, for now, because I know now she doesn't get along with Robyn and Kody so much, but then at least she was the main bridge between those two families because they were able to both put things aside for her. And I wish going forward that they could also at least say hi. You don't even got to ask how they're doing. Just say hi. Yeah. Nice to see you. Goodbye.
That's all. You don't have to stand around and is she looking at me? It makes everyone else feel awkward. Christine even said, I bet everybody knows we're standing at different tables and everyone can tell that it's awkward. And then pettiness inside of her. I just realized that they're the ones that are out of place and this is my place. And all of a sudden she's back to her normal self. Like, it can be fine. Just that's why I love her too. Because she's just it's so funny.
Yeah, she was so animated this entire episode. I feel like she's always animated, but just the way she
I know. I know. We've always talked about that. She's just got the best descriptive voice, not like my monotone voice, like some people apparently don't like, but she has fantastic voice. And I think the more she's in love with her life, what she said this episode, the more her animation is. And my mom is kind of like that too, where my mom, when she's happy, she's just loud and excited and laughs really loud. And people like that, I think, are like sunshine in human form. I mean, that's why I love Christine so much. So even when she's being messy over here, I still got to clap for her. I think she's great.
I love being single.
Dating. That was her blip in this whole 10-minute, the state of the family. There's Meri talking about all this sad Robyn can't come to grips with reality. Kody's trying to tell her this, and you just have Christine popping. Just dating. Like, yeah, we're back to Meri.
I recommend divorce for everybody. Prescribe divorce for everyone.
We also get this voiceover going between Kody and Robyn at the sprinkle about the state of Kody and Robyn's marriage as a monogamous couple. And it's not going well for them as of right now. Kody says that they're struggling. Robyn says that she thinks they're probably in the worst place that they've ever been in their marriage, which makes me feel sad for her.
I don't know, me not so much, because I just feel like it still can't be as bad as a place in marriage that he was with these other people. Because he's still at least trying with Robyn. He's still at least trying to make that work a little bit. I think Kody is just such an angry person right now that he'd be hard for anyone to get along with, even Robyn. I don't know how she does it, to be real. You have to live in the Lulu world if you're Robyn.
That's why I kind of feel bad, I guess. And maybe that's why she's so delusional, because
she has to be in a way.
It's the only way her life makes sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't the very first time that they were all seeing each other. So again, you have to cut them all some slack just for getting through that moment. Probably the rest of them just won't be so awkward because it won't be the very first time. But I hope that they learned, especially Christine learns maybe some lessons in that interaction, that it didn't have to be so awkward. Maybe that's what she was trying to say when she said, I realize this is probably kind of worse for them, or they're more out of their comfort zone than I am. Maybe that's what she was trying to say, that I don't need to be so stone cold. But I don't also think she's very interested in being friendly, as she said. But there's somewhere in between there where you can just look at someone in the face and say, hey.
Can we talk for a second about how weird Kody was with his kids and grandkids? He walked up to one of his grandkids with a ball and he's like, do you want to dance? Do you want to dance? It looks like she can't even walk.
I know. And then I think it was Isabelle who was holding the baby, didn't even acknowledge her. I mean, I know it's edited. We didn't see the whole interaction.
Yeah.
But
it was interesting. I will say that.
All the interactions that we saw were interesting. Granted, I don't think we saw a whole lot in this episode. This episode's probably, what do you think, like 75% confessional and voiceover, just from a couple of different scenes, which I know they need to set us all up and stuff like that. But apparently this was just a week ago that we stopped filming. So I don't think we need to be set up all that much. We know where we're at.
So moving on from the party, we went to go pick up Isabelle.
She's living in North Carolina with Maddie and her husband. And I guess she's been living there for like a year. And she wants to move to Salt Lake now, not with Christine, but nearby Christine. So she's going to go to school there. We also learned that Maddie is pregnant.
At the same time as Mykelti. When I first saw Mykelti hopping out of that truck, I was like, she did not go with them, did she, on this drive? Oh my gosh. But luckily she was just there to visit.
And I think, like, it's kind of funny, the relationship between Mykelti and Maddie to me, because they don't seem to be that close anymore. Apparently the last time they saw each other was the last time Mykelti was pregnant. That was a long time ago. But they have such a similar life path, because I think they were born really close in age to each other. They were the first two kids married, the first two girls to get married. And then I think they got pregnant within a couple months of each other. And now here they are pregnant again at the same time. And maybe they talk to each other more than they see each other. I hope that they would, because they got to have so much in common.
What they don't have in common is their relationship with Kody. Apparently, Maddie doesn't have one. And I've heard this before on a podcast that Maddie went on. It was like one of her friends was starting a podcast and she was a guest on there. And she was talking about how Kody's just not been consistent and that she doesn't want him around unless he's going to be consistent. That's exactly what they said on the show, too, is that Maddie doesn't want a relationship with Kody unless he's going to be consistent about it and probably just be more himself. He's just been so weird these last few years. I don't really blame her, especially when you got kids involved. You don't want these kids going back and forth, not knowing who they're dealing with, if they're getting Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde this day. Since he bleached his curls or whatever, like he's been just real strange since his hair got lighter.
He also lives apart from reality as well. Even though when you look at him and Robyn, he looks to be the more grounded one. If you take him out of him and Robyn, you put him in actual reality, he's also delusional himself.
He's in his own world, Robyn's in her own world.
I can't imagine how they get through life together without someone else's money or planning or opinions.
I don't know if they do.
That's what I mean.
Kody won't talk about Maddie when he's asked by producers, which I thought was interesting because usually he's one to talk crap about his kids, his wives, whatever he's got going on. He's willing to talk about it, but he's not willing to talk about Maddie. Apparently, there must have been some fallout there.
I think that's the closest we can get with Kody these days to accountability because he's usually real quick to sit and blame somebody else or complain to someone else. I mean, eventually we're going to see him tell Meri to blame her own self for him not loving her. So he's usually really quick to assign blame. So if he is not doing that, I think that's the closest thing to accountability we can get, which is not good. But I think that is a sign that he probably knows he could be doing a lot better with his kids. And there is a theme of that in a lot of the stuff that he's talking about in this episode, that he's real disconnected from his kids. But it also cuts to Robyn outright questioning. I don't know why Kody is not connecting with his kids or reaching out to his kids. And at first I'm like, yeah, Robyn, like that's a good question. Maybe you should encourage him to do that more.
Robyn's playing dumb with us, like people be saying.
And then she turns around and says, well, they should also be reaching out too. No, just no. Just no.
I was just so furious with her with that scene because she's sitting there like, I don't know why he doesn't. It's like, yes, you do. And if you don't, then ask him. You live in the house with him. Ask. Ask a question or two. She infuriated me with that little scene. These kids don't have to get a hold of him. That is their dad. They didn't ask to be born. And if he wants to foster a relationship with 18 kids, then he can do that. But he decided to have 18 kids. He decided to have multiple wives. And now just because his marriages are falling apart, he has now taken the easy out of, well, they're all talking about me, so I don't want to go talk to any of them. No, that's not how fatherhood works. You know how much I've talked about my dad, and then I'll get a call from him still.
Well, and if you had a consistent and stable relationship with your kids, it really would not matter how much the mom is on TV talking crap about them, because your kids would have an image of you that you are able to uphold because you're a good person. I can't even believe an ounce of that, Kody. If you were just in their lives, if you were just there for them, they would be willing to look the other way when all these women are just trying to make sense of why they got divorced. Being a father and being a husband are two different roles, and people can be great at one and terrible at the other.
Yep. And he's terrible at both. Because if you might have put your children first instead of all these women and stuff, if you would have put your children first, I'm going to say it. I really think Garrison would be here today. If he had more support from his dad and if he had more of a relationship there, I don't think Kody is 100% the reason why he did that. And I don't want to blame Kody for that. I don't want to blame anyone for that. It's just really tragic. But at the same time, I do think that Kody could have helped prevent that from happening by just being
Kody
there.
was definitely a major connection. Any parent is a major connection. And when you lose that, that's going to affect a child deeply, especially Jenelle. When she said, when his relationship broke down with my kids, that's when I turned away, because he was not moving mountains to change that. And that's what you should do when you're a parent. I don't care if your child has cut you off. Write them a journal every day and mail it to them once a month so that they know that you're there. Whatever, until they tell you that you're harassing them and they're going to press charges, you should make sure that they at least know that you're there whenever they're ready. You should always keep a relationship and, like Jenelle said, move mountains to change that if something has gone wrong. Kody's never going to do that.
The longer he goes without trying with his kids, the more awkward it's going to be when he does. It's just getting worse and worse because he's not even making an attempt, it seems.
When we saw the baby sprinkle, it looked like, at least with Christine's kids, especially her older kids, like they were seeing a stranger when Kody walked in the door. It wasn't back in season 5 where Kody walks in and there's 12 kids running and hugging him and, laughs and people are getting picked up. And I know they're adults now, but you'd think they'd bring their kids and come give hugs and say hello.
Sorry. Little fan. There was some weird stuff going on though between confessionals and like real time scenes. I don't know what they were responding to half the time, if they were just taking the confessionals and weirdly editing them in. There was one point when they were going to get Isabelle and stuff that Kody was like, I have FOMO, family FOMO. I'm like, what, did you want to move her? I was like, why would they insert this here? They're not even doing anything to have FOMO about.
I think we've talked about this or suspected this for a while, but it seems as if the production is showing them maybe unedited clips of whatever they're wanting them to respond to in these confessionals, because it looked like Kody learned for the first time ever. He was like, oh, so Jenelle and Christine moved Isabelle. And he looked like he was processing that for the first time, and he had a little chuckle about, oh, how the tables have turned, and took this opportunity to be real petty about saying that Janelle's following Christine around like a little puppy, and Christine don't even like Jenelle, and all this.
Well, it's just like when he said the one home idea was the catalyst. It wasn't the damn catalyst. It was you not treating your wives the same, but whatever.
He
Teach
has
their
been
own.
trying to come up with a catalyst, with a left turn, with a smoking gun for seasons now, probably for 3 or 4 seasons of this is when everything went wrong. Everything but him, everything but his own actions, everything but the way that he has treated all of his wives and all of his kids and disconnected from them all completely, including, it seems like, Robyn at this point. Sit with yourself for a moment and look in the mirror. Has he gone to see Nancy?
The self-destructiveness of it
Where is
all.
Nancy?
Nancy's been gone, man. She's still in Vegas or something, where actually we see Meri going. Meri goes to Vegas to visit her friend Brandy, and
Right.
they are talking about Kody. She's telling her about how Kody decided to break up with her, whatever. She's like, does Kody know? And she's happy for her, but she's like, does Kody know? Is this maybe a decision you made on your own and you just like came here?
Question for me is not does Kody know, but like you know. I mean,
Yeah, does
Kody has
Meri?
decided this 17 years ago.
He did. Again, felt awkward telling her what is their 32nd wedding anniversary when they went out, because she's like, we've been married for 32 years, but we haven't been married for 32 years. We did get a nice little bit of information that Meri is working on getting herself spiritually divorced. She's like, why would I want to spend an eternity with that man? He don't want nothing to do with me. Like, good.
Yeah.
Finally, Meri. It feels
I
like
know.
the Meri that's wearing like green in the confessionals is closer to our time right now, Meri, like 2023 Meri or 2024 Meri, because she was popping off in there. And she had a lot to say. She's like, Cody's gonna be mad at me after watching this confessional. Who cares? He's already mad at you. He's mad at everybody. Wait till you see what he says about you in his confessionals.
We all care about the spicy things you're saying. I'm here for it, but I don't think Kody could care less.
Oh, you don't care. In fact, what's another reason for him to be mad at you, right? He's already got several, so who cares?
Yeah, I think that this is going to be Meri's season because she has said a couple spicy things already in the first episode in these confessionals, like what you just said. And she also talked about Dee doesn't really care anymore or things like this. So I think this is going to be her season to spill her side of the story, which she totally deserves to do.
Well, she looks great too. She's looking thin. She's looking spicy. In that intro they all redid, they all look good. Besides, but
even Kody looks normal.
I know. I was like, why does everybody look good in this? I mean, they're definitely very photoshopped, but they definitely looked real good, especially Meri. When Meri popped up first, I was like, damn,
I know.
the glow up already hit.
He has had a glow up. Meri's had a glow up. I think Janelle's just waiting to stabilize herself a little bit, and then she's gonna be on her way to a glow up too. None for you, Robyn.
No, she kind of looked the same.
None for you, Glen Coco.
She's the youngest of them, but she looked pretty damn old compared to them right now to me. But
she is aging. Kody is aging this woman.
I will say I heckled when Meri was trying to talk about how Kody has been towards her, how he's been treating her really terribly. She's like, how can you pick someone out of a group of people and be like, I want that one to pretend to love for 32 years. And on top of that, she's like, I think he's just trying to reconcile the fact that me and him started this family together. And Robyn was what, 10, 12? I was like,
honestly, let's please give Meri her flowers. She started this family. Not only was she the first wife, she played a part in choosing and growing each of the other wives and raising the families that came from this whole thing. She was here from day one. She is the top of the marriage and the family, not in a way of power, but in a true way of, I was here from the beginning and I have influenced every single part of every single thing that's happened since then. You cannot just take that away or deny that that reality has ever happened. And here comes Kody. I was just affirming my love. Part of me almost wants to follow that weird train of thought because I know Kody was on this religious mission when he came back after a year of being gone and his family had completely changed religions. And now all of a sudden they were embracing this Mormonism and this like specific sect of it that had plural marriage involved in it. And all of that, even then, was very specific. And even in Mormonism, from my understanding, not a norm.
But I think he's also the only one of his siblings who chose to live that way, if I remember right.
That's the thing about Kody. I think he has this incessant need to be affirmed and validated and told that he's okay. And I think he was not affirming his love for Meri, if we're going to go down his pathway. He was affirming his love for his family, his love for his dad, for whoever chose this damn religion while he was gone, that he all of a sudden wants validation and approval from his family. So he has to do it the very best that he can. That's the only way that I can make sense of it. It's not okay, but that had nothing to do with Meri.
If you read that Sister Wives book, obviously, the way they both talked about their marriage and stuff, Kody did not love Meri. Like, Kody loved Meri.
He being a whirlwind and all this, not passion sexually, but just passion, like they both were strong personalities and dynamic and all these things. And I believe that. I think that was the reality. He has deluded himself into some twisted thing. Maybe that's how he makes sense of it now, that I wronged myself because of this religion or this belief that I had that I don't believe anymore. Of course, you have to make sense of it that way if you're going to live with yourself and what you've done. But that is not actually how it went down.
I think he may have fallen out of love with Meri quite a few years ago, even probably before Robyn. But that doesn't take away the fact that he ever loved her at all, because otherwise there wouldn't be this polygamous family built with her.
That's the thing. That part is why Meri deserves all the respect and all the props, and Kody refuses to give it to her. And I think that is why we're going to see Meri season really try to take her story back and take her power back and speak for herself, because she has been letting that all just sort of play out and be quiet. And she even said the way that Kody is talking about this is not even fair to the viewers, because it's so effing delusional at this point. So I can't wait to hear her side of it, because obviously Kody was in love when he got married. Let's not pretend.
Now, do I think Meri was a great sister wife? She was the first wife and she had problems having children. I think she was bitter sometimes. I think she was particular. And as we've seen Meri, when she was doing that move to Vegas, all these things, Meri is very particular. So do I think she's easy to live with? Hell no. I do think Jenelle and Christine have very valid reasons for not getting along with Meri. I'm sure they went through decades of bullshit. All of them, actually, even Meri. But do I think that she started this family and that she has, as the first wife, as the reigning legal marriage, whenever she had that, do I think she facilitated everybody's relationships better than Robyn? 100%.
100. Possible.
Possible. Would you like to dance? You want to dance?
Want to dance with this ball?
Anyways.
I was terrified, by the way, too. Completely terrified.
I would have been too. I've been like, who the f is this curly head, half balding man coming up to me with a ball? Like, what to do? Like, I can't even walk, sir. I don't even know. I just got walking down. Dance.
Meri tells Brandy that she's not going to be renewing her lease in Flagstaff. And she said that she's probably going to go to the Airbnb to Parowan.
That's where we figured she'd go, and that's where fans have been begging her to go for a whole decade now.
So. I know. Why have you waited so long? I mean, I guess that's always been the question with Meri.
Jenelle's thinking about going to Montana, so there isn't going to be anybody on Coyote Pass. I really think they just need to sell that thing. And then remember when Robyn was talking about the stupid contract? She was like, yeah, it's a stupid contract. I'm like, then why did you sign it? Why did y'all sign that stupid ass contract? Y'all couldn't afford a plot of land then. If you couldn't afford to pay for all of the land right then and there, what kind of people, whoever's on the other end of this, is letting y'all dick around for like 3-4 years about paying off a piece of land?
I know. Then to want to, on top of that, rezone it all, there's nothing out there. There's no plumbing. There's no water. There's no sewer. All that's going to have to be structured and done. Like, that's going to cost buckets of money at this point.
If you can't pay to build right now, what are you going to wait another 10 years to build? Just
We're not even talking about building. We're talking about developing. I feel like that's got double the cost.
Yeah, and if you can't afford to pay off the land right now, you're not going to be able to afford to do any of that stuff moving forward. Just scrap the loss. Go get yourself a house somewhere. And that's probably what they're doing, honestly. I would assume that by now they've probably scrapped the land, especially when you see in the preview Jenelle talking about getting a lawyer and everything. She probably did get a lawyer. They probably did decide to just be done with the land and cut their losses.
They should. They definitely should. I mean, the friend, too, in this Vegas visit, Brandy, she does also ask about the land. And what struck me as weird is Meri is still insistent that she's going to get her, quote, fair share. I don't know if she means her fair share of the money when they sell the land or her fair share of the actual land. Because it seems like her and Robyn have this bizarre idea that they might all still build on that land and maybe just live there as friends. I don't think that's gonna happen in reality, but it seems to me, based on what I'm hearing from those two, that there's an idea there that they might actually do that.
I think it's more about getting her money, just because remember in that breakup conversation, it began with them talking about how they're dividing up the land, and they were going to give Meri the smallest piece of land sandwiched between Kody's land. No, you're not getting your fair share on the land.
Well, to be clear too, that land, the plot divisions, that's all just an idea. They can't actually divide that until they pay off the land. So all of that is just an idea. So Meri will get her fair share as long as she
It's all an idea. It's all a delusion. It's all a fool's dream.
You know what? Robyn goes to bed at night and dreams about Meri's house and Jenelle's house and saw Christine's house.
These people don't even fully own this land. They just keep going over to it to like envision what houses look like. It's like me going over to a random field and being like, "Oh, I could just see a house here."
I know.
I don't own that.
Burying money into the ground there every couple of months. Just go bury your money and then dream of a home. That's what they have been doing. And I forgot to say this, but this was my favorite part of the very beginning when Robyn was over there talking about how she dreams about Meri's house and my house and Christine's house. Kody's response to that was, I'm going to sell this.
I don't blame him though. I was with him. I don't blame him. What she's doing is the equivalent of what me and Dean were doing when we were last up in Michigan. We were going through my whole parents' house, like, oh, we would do this with this room, and we would do this with this room. We don't own that house. We're talking about owning a house we don't even own. We were doing that all week.
It's fun to do every once in a while, but that doesn't mean you're actually going to do it. And that's what we find Robyn and Kody doing just month after month at this stupid
after
land.
Month after month. After divorce, after divorce, after multiple divorces.
So Meri is acknowledging that she does have to grieve the marriage a little bit. She doesn't quite know what to do with all the physical stuff, the pictures, the ornaments, whatever. That's the only thing we've seen her cry about this season. So good for Meri, because I think she's got to be done mourned the death of her marriage, but I get trying to get rid of the physical stuff and all of that too. So her friend suggests burning the pictures and says she's here for it whenever she's ready, just like any good friend should do. Meri ends the episode off wondering with her friend if Kody will ever look back on his life and take some accountability for his actions, for his wreck of a life at this point. And Meri, I wouldn't be holding my breath, but Meri seems to think that he's going to have to be accountable for it, whether he likes it or not. And it seems real ominous, but I don't know. So for next season, get ready, because this was a big teaser. We have David. We have Jenelle and Kody thinking about ending things. We have Jenelle maybe lawyering up over the property. We have Meri moving away to Parowan. Robyn is the idiot who got left behind. Duh. Kody thinks that divorce is not the problem, but marrying Meri was the problem. I can't wait to see that whole scene play out. We're going to see everyone meet David, which is kind of like a time travel backwards for us since we saw the whole wedding already with David. Meri talks about how she needs a man because she's not taking sides. She's not going to be part of the wives club. She's not going to be the Kody and Robyn club. She needs to be in her own club with her own man. Robyn and Kody are going to have some marriage trouble. And Kody wants to know about maybe possibly dating Jenelle again while she eats a sandwich. I don't think that's going to go further than the sandwich. And if Kody doesn't love Meri, then Meri should blame herself. It's going to be a lot.
It is. It's going to be a really petty season, and I'm here for it.
And somehow in between all that, we're going to take a pause and acknowledge Garrison's life, which is going to be really tough to do. It's going to be a packed season. From the sounds of it, we're going to do a lot of time jumping, which I guess is not uncommon for Sister Wives. There's been some seasons where even just from episode to episode, people are saying they haven't talked to each other in over a month or, something like that. So I guess it's not completely out of the ordinary for Sister Wives to be jumping in time quite quickly, but I do think it's so weird that we're about to literally meet David when we've already seen this man fully get married, but whatever.
Thank you, Chick Chat, for joining us. We will be back for next week's episode. Definitely like, subscribe, share, reduce, reuse, recycle, Rihanna.
Yay, yes, we're happy to be back. We hope that we see you guys again next week. We welcome back our old Sister Watcher subscribers and hopefully welcome to anyone new who's joining us.
Yes. Well, we'll see you next week, Chick Chat.
Bye-bye.